A thread by Carlos Osuida. For Patriquat. Patriquat tweets, "I'm not one of you. Go fuck yourself, you sick narcissistic bitch. You speak as if you were more than some deranged hermit, and the rest of us are ants. Your favorite word is I." Carlos responds, "This is a useful tweet for defining a few terms. President Trump is also wrongly accused of narcissism by people who don't know what it means. What are the traits of a narcissist? Has an exaggerated sense of self-importance, has a sense of entitlement, and requires constant, excessive admiration, expects to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it, exaggerates own achievements and talents, is preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate, believes they are superior and can only associate with equally special people, monopolizes conversations, and belittles or looks down upon people they perceive as inferior, expects special favors and unquestioning compliance with their expectations, takes advantage of others to get what they want, has an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others, is envious of others and believes others envy him, behaves in an arrogant or haughty manner, coming across as conceited, boastful, and pretentious, insists on having the best of everything, for instance, the best car or office, becomes impatient or angry when they don't receive special treatment, has significant interpersonal problems and feels easily slighted, reacts with rage or contempt and tries to belittle the other person to make themselves appear superior, has difficulty regulating emotions and behavior, experiences major problems dealing with stress and adapting to change, feels depressed and moody because they fall short of perfection, has secret feelings of insecurity, shame, vulnerability, and humiliation." Mayo Clinic. .org. The Quatriot calls me a narcissistic hermit. Get it? Patriot, but starting with Q. Okay. Not possible. Enough said about me being narcissistic. But notice that the Quatriot said that I was talking about him. Did I say a word about QAnon? When you think you're the center of everybody's attention and everybody's talking about you, guess what that is called? Yup. And psychological deflection. What's that? Deflection is an intense focus upon and antagonism toward the legitimacy of the actions, feelings, and beliefs of others, and an intense misdirection of attention away from the actions, feelings, and beliefs of the self. From abuseandrelationships.org. Finally, we have projection. Projection is attributing one's own unacceptable traits to others. Psychology Today. Oh, if only I could be normal enough to be a narcissist who engages in deflection and projection. Well, that's not possible. I am a 100% outsider, completely abnormal on every level, but also completely self-aware, and not afraid to admit my abnormality. As I wrote before, I went through a meat grinder. It took me 50 years to emerge. I was ground up for 5 decades. You can't come back from that, but you can still make a life. When I write here, I have to get your attention. The first tweet was to hook you. I know how to do that. I always provide evidence. I always tell you that I may be wrong. The only reason that I revealed what I did for 2 countries was that I was advised to do so. I'm told I'm not in any danger, but you can't be too careful. See, we are there. The final battle. The feds were expecting everything except highly trained, sectarian death squads supported by American politicians and protected by law enforcement. But now, they know. It allows Trump to take off the gloves. Like the Quatriot, our enemies are as innocent as newborn kittens in certain ways. There's a great short story called Doomsday Deferred by Murray Leinster, writing as Will F. Jenkins, 1949. It's about Brazilian army ants that have somehow become as intelligent as humans, but the intelligence extends only to the problem-solving ability. They remain as innocent as ants. Oopsie. Interesting that, again, the Quatriot thought I was talking about him. The jolly, indestructible, nihilistic stupidity of too many of my own followers. But he's lying. He lost it over my very first tweet. He quoted it. I'm not one of you. I'm not part of any group. It's not possible. All herds reject me. The two friends I had in my life knew they were going to die young, as they did. They approached me. We became close friends instantly. I once had a 17-hour conversation with a French GIGN, Groupe d'Intervention de la Gendarmerie Nationale, operator. French police special operations unit that works all over the world. This operator approached me. We spoke about everything. You know what it is? Death. Ask any combat veteran or police officer. The average civilian gets freaked out just by knowing what they do. All veterans and cops want is to be treated as normal. They don't talk about darkness except to those who've shared the experience. My two friends and the GIGN operator had an intimate knowledge of death, as do I. Much more so than I'll ever reveal on Twitter. One friend was a quadriplegic who wanted to kill himself. We talked about it as often as he wanted. It didn't bother me. The other friend was a severe asthmatic who knew that he would die young. We never mentioned his condition. Who knows how many people the GIGN operator had killed? They were all men who loved roaming, formless conversation. They saw the death in me, and they sensed that I have the same love of discussing everything. So they approached me, and we hit it off. It was enough. Yes, I despise people who make everything into a joke. I despise people who believe transparent nonsense. If that doesn't describe you, then you shouldn't be getting angry. You see how often people who follow me insult me? Usually I agree with them and they go away, confused. Puny minds can't cope with an unscripted world. The problem with groups, as the angry quatriot is showing, is that they almost always evolve into intolerant movements that attack unbelievers. QAnon plays no role in my life. I hardly ever even think about it. Sometimes it's in the news, and sometimes people post something here that they attribute to QAnon, but the only thing I've ever pointed out is that it's not a conspiracy theory because it's not an explanation for a conspiracy. The Las Vegas mass shooter was a BATF asset killed by the Islamic State who then used his guns to try and kill Mohammed bin Salman is a conspiracy theory. Charles Manson was a CIA asset is a conspiracy theory. The term conspiracy theory is misused as a nutty idea shared by a group. Democrats spread tons of conspiracy theories about Trump. He's working with the Russians to steal the election. That's as insane as anything ever said about the JFK assassination. The notion that police are hunting and murdering black men is a conspiracy theory. The protocols of the Elders of Zion is a conspiracy theory. They have real-world consequences, which is why I hate them.